Shalom, shalom, Israel. Man, I hope everybody's having a blessed day. Man, I'm gonna come to you real quick with this message. Not gonna be on here too long. And the title, the thumbnail on this one is She Should Not Have to Teach You. She should not have to teach you how to be a man. Men need to hear this one because the consequences of you allowing this to happen, it should refocus you. And if it doesn't refocus you on constantly seeking to be the best man that Yah wants you to be, something is wrong. Man, oftentimes as men, we will be prideful and think more of ourselves than we're actually worth in our weight. And what happens is you will be entertaining a woman and she's going to expose that you're not the man that you thought you were. At that time, if you are, desperate and wanting this woman bad enough, you're at a very pivotal point as a man. And what happens is the very thing that the Most High Yah tells a woman not to do, you permit and make a standard because you never learned how to be a man. This is very important for our young men to be raised and reared in righteousness. Taking our young men and just dumping them off on the church and saying, well, they went to church is not going to be good enough because there's things in there that the church is not going to show you. The word does not say, go to church and study to show yourself approved and let somebody else tell you how to be approved. The word says, study to show thyself approved. Men, it's the worst case scenario for any man that's ever dated an older woman. You put this woman in a position, she's been here on this earth longer than you. And oftentimes men ignorantly, because they think it's fun, they get a thrill out of it. This woman's game plan the whole time is to get a younger man so she can usurp authority over him. And this is why you catch mom vibes. This is why you're like, man, I only got one mama. You're not about to tell me nothing. This right here, I want to caution you that you are going to experience some heavy challenges, imbalances in a relationship if a woman has to teach you how to be a man. It's not her job to teach you that. The Most High Yah doesn't even permit that. What happens to you as a man when you wake up and start being the kind of man that the Bible says you should be? You've given a woman authority over you, and she's going to fight like hell to keep it. She's going to fight like a bat out of hell to keep it because you normalize something that was out of order. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach. A lot of women will say, man, I can't teach nothing. Yeah, you can teach. And it's outlined in the word what you should teach. And anytime you find a woman teaching, outside of what the word says, they're going to teach something strange, something foreign, and it's going to, 9 times out of 10, it's going to lead people astray. Nor to usurp authority over man, but to be in silence. What did you do as a man that didn't know how to be a man? You was the one that put the shut to the up and looked at this woman and said, teach me how to be a man. I'm listening. You gave her power that's not supposed to be in her hands at the level of ruling over a man when you're supposed to be ruling over the woman. Let's keep going. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 35. And if they will learn anything, Let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. This is why it's important for men to get around righteous, masculine men. Just being around a religious man is not good enough, because you got a lot of men that don't even realize they're effeminate in religion. You got to get around a man that fears Yah and keeps the commandments and is teaching you, pouring into you, constantly showing you in the word, hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing. As men, this is what we're supposed to be doing. As fathers, this is what we're supposed to be doing. As husbands, this is what we're supposed to be doing. But oftentimes you don't get that in Sunday Sun worship. You get motivational messages and then you pull your wallet out and give what you think is a tithe. As a man, being in a relationship with a woman that had to teach you how to be a man, she's never going to respect you. If for somehow she returns to righteousness, if you get that, I'm saying you're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations. It's going to be painful for you, because that right there, her teaching you, will be weaponized as you still don't know nothing. I'm still about to teach you. And oftentimes that's going to come at the point of you didn't finally stepped into your biblical role and you're trying to establish order, but you yourself established the order that's unbiblical. Men, this right here, you can't afford not to be studying and be in a relationship with a woman, because she's going to go somewhere for information. She can go to them streets. That's going to tear up the home. She can go to her girlfriends. And if they're not living righteous, they're going to tear it up. So it's best suited, according to the word of the Most High Yah, for you to teach her. Man, never tell your woman, I don't know. Man, I spend so much time. My wife probably thinking I just be on YouTube just watching videos, but I spend so much time researching areas that the family's gonna go, and how to fulfill the vision. That way, when a woman is asking, like, how is this, like, when she's asking, you're able to teach her, this is the reason why this goes together. But man, there's a lot of men that's masquerading around as men, and they're gonna hit this critical point, this pivotal point, that I'm talking about. And what you're going to end up doing is committing yourself to somebody that has rule over you. You got to think, when we saw that woman getting married and she says, I'm not obeying, like, but you're putting yourself in a position for a woman to not obey you. When we look at Ecclesiasticus and it talks about a woman who keeps the man, far as providing for the man, and has to pour into a man, it says that she's going to be full of anger, bitterness. She's going to resent you. You are in a mother and child relationship at that point. No matter how much you pump your chest up and think all of this, you had an opportunity from the gate for her to respect you, and you blew it. And the only way that's gonna be restored, that dynamic, is if she cared enough about you, and she said yes to you, and she was already walking in the commandments. But if she's not walking in the commandments and fearing the Most High Yah, you're dealing with a nightmare. That's why most men that have been with an older woman will tell you, like, heck no, once I realized that she was just trying to control me, and you're gonna get the humor that's really wrapped in humor, but it's disrespect. Oh, you ain't nothing but a baby. You still wet behind the ears. They think that they can show you something, but A lot of men put themselves in that position. Okay. Says, and if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. Man, this goes in line with a woman that is in a relationship with a man that's not believing, that he doesn't believe. The word tells the woman to win the man over with her conduct without a word and her behavior. So when they see your conduct and behavior, the righteousness in you, you know, that way they'll be like, man, what in the world is in her that's making her respond like that? So, man, you constantly need to be, as a leader, you constantly need to be in the word, tapped in. I'm talking about tapped in the truth of the Most High Yah, righteousness. Religion is not enough. How many of these men out here that are, let's see what this is real quick. How many of these men out here that came up in the church are not seeing and discerning what they need to, be seeing on the forefront as far as evaluating a woman and a wife, but they're just hitting these contracts ignorantly, only to find out that, man, like, I'm dealing with a headache. This woman had to, don't be a lazy man. And she got to tell you that you need to working 3 days enough, working at, Burger King ain't going to be enough to take care of a family. You got to think how much authority you're giving her that she's not supposed to have. That's gonna cost you some pain. She got to tell you, hey, you need to pull up your pants. What kind of man are you? You need to doggone get off your butt and work. You know, you don't need to be doing. If she got to clean you up, you don't think that she's not gonna take credit? You talking, if you continue to be in this relationship, she gonna take credit for that. Anytime you have any success by the labor of your own hands, regardless of if she's doing her part or not, I made him. He was my creation. He would have been nothing without me. Man, you got to choose wisely. This is why walking in righteousness as a man prior to getting into marriage is very important. So you can be very direct, very righteously blunt, far as, hey, this is what kind of man I'm going to be. This is where you find it in the Bible. And this is what kind of wife, if you want to be a wife to me, you're going to be. Bottom line, point blank, period. Nothing else will be tolerated. But if you're not, if she's got to drag you here, get you to do this, God forbid you have a woman standing over you teaching you how to use a screwdriver. Brother, you in a bad relation, you in a bad spot. Nowadays it's not strange to see a woman driving a car, man sitting in the passenger seat, and at the gas station, and see the woman putting air in the tire, and the man just sitting there on TikTok on his phone, chilling, trying to be cute. But you in a bad spot. And it once you wake up, that's when you're gonna see, man, this is not right. This is not right. You've been the tail the whole time. You grabbed a hold of her skirt tail, and she telling you to come on with your sorry butt. How many times you see, you got to think about this now. What's popular now is for women, a particular type of woman, to be in a male-dominated industry. Look at the truck drivers. Now we're starting to see all of these women that want to be masculine hop in male-dominated industries and then try to put sex appeal on it. Why we got all these female truck drivers want to be sassy, want to be bad bees and all of this, and you see the way that they try to sell it off is, by putting on some shorts, showing their booty, showing their breasts, being vain in beauty. Man, you get with a woman like that, and you don't know nothing about a car, and she got to come out there and check the oil in your car because you don't know what the oil light means, you in trouble, bro. You in trouble. You in trouble. Because she's in a position to teach you something where you should be knowledgeable at. Man, you got more men that's fashionable, that's knowledgeable about fashion than fulfilling their masculine role. And that's out of order. That's out of order. You know everything about the new styles, the new trends, the new shoes. You done took on the spirit of a woman, and she got to tell you how to tighten up this doorknob. She asking, and she gonna test you to see if you know how to be a man. I don't know why these cabinets is they squeaking and kind of loose, but if you haven't been groomed by a man that knows how to be a man, that's cut from that cloth, you don't know, man. Let me get some of this WD-40 on this hinge real quick and tighten that up. This is all the stuff that you could be doing in the beginning. You see a woman out here and she's doggone, she's on her own, wanting to be a wife, but she gonna take the opportunity. That doesn't mean that you know how to lead her in that opportunity you presented her. You got an opportunity to say, hey, no, I know you want to do all this. You probably used to, but we ain't doing that. But meanwhile, dang, ain't nothing. I mean, you have an opportunity to position yourself righteously, but you have to know something. You dating a young lady and her stuff is all loose and tightened up. Dang, ain't none of them joking. Ain't none of them never looked at that. Maybe they just only wanted booty. You up here tightening it. Let me tighten this up. She like, man, this joker different. Let's keep going. Titus chapter 2, verse 3 through 5. See, a lot of women look at the word that I just said and say, man, I can't teach nothing. No, you can teach. But what happens is you get yourself into trouble as women trying to teach areas that's outside of righteousness that you're not permitted. You teaching, how many women teach, tell their daughters, you need to go to college. You didn't taught them that before you taught them how to be a wife, and it's catastrophic for them. The aged women, likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh in holiness. Man, as a woman, you shouldn't be doggone having no twerk contest from grandmama to mama to daughter. Not false accusers, not giving her too much wine. Teachers of good things according to righteousness. That's not good, you leaning on your own understanding. Well, I thought college was good, so I told her to no. That they may teach the young women to be sober. It don't say young men. To be sober, to love their husband. That's right in line with I will have that the younger women marry, bear children, and guide the house. Man, there's not only are these women masquerading as feminine in these masculine roles in these career industries, you got to look at it. There's a lady on YouTube where she shoots guns. She's into guns. I think her name is like Yoki something. But you see that spirit of being immodest will try to cover up the masculinity and sell it off as sexy, like it's the new thing. But here's the thing, man. You don't see a buttload of feminine women running to be truckers. I don't give a dang if you make $1 million. These feminine women when you think about the women at Straightway Help Me, go check them out. But when you think about them, that's not they have fulfilled their biblical role, and they not running to go be these symbolic women that's masculine, but trying to pass it off with makeup, some fake hair, showing their butt. Like, you gotta understand. And if you don't understand what I'm saying today, maybe you hear this now, and later on, when it clicks, what I'm saying, if you have put yourself in that situation, you got a choice to make and say, hey, am I willing to go through the getting this thing in order where I've given this woman power over me and she's not going to want to let it go? Hasatan at that moment is going to use her. She ain't going to want to give up that authority. Listen to me. How many times have we heard these women get with men that ain't no good? And the thing is, man, I had to tell them how to be a man. I had to do this and I had to do that. They take on the spirit of the man in the relationship because you didn't want to do it. And then you're fighting with a dog. You're fighting with a bat out of hell when you fulfill your biblical role and you start trying to wash her with the word. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. It says that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Think about that. To be discreet, chaste. This is what they're supposed to be teaching. This is everything right here that the doggone women today aren't being taught by mama. Why? Mama was probably entertaining a no good joker that if daddy was in line with righteousness would have never gave the mama, the mama away to this man. But this happens. This is what happened when you sneak off and, well, I don't want my parents ain't gonna like them. That's what you get. It's a reason you know your parents ain't gonna like them. To be discreet, chase keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yah be not blasphemed. Think about that, man. Men, the young men. I see a lot of young men, and every time, like being in the military, I see these young men, and they just be like faking it till they make it, going with the flow. And they be like, man, I got swag, I got drip, I got style, I got the sauce, whatever the new terminology is. But I'm like, man, how's that going to benefit a woman? What are you going to do? What are you going to do when you entertaining these young ladies and you want more out of her? You want to take the relationship somewhere else, but you don't even know your role as a man. Biblically, you want to be blessed, but you ain't never studied to see how to be blessed as a man, how to be a head. You see what I'm saying? Man, it took me before I even got on the whiff of this, the whiff of it. I'm talking about just catching seeing Shepherd Dow. Man, it was, I want to say it had to be about 27, 28, and then it still didn't even, hit me. I thought all the way up until that point that my grandfather was the carbon copy of a man. Even though I was raised in church, I ain't never heard nobody teach on that. Been going to church. Ain't never nobody said, hey, this is what kind of, if you want to be successful in marriage, you're going to have to be the head. Because if not, you're going to be the tail. I ain't never heard nobody teach on that. All you got was motivational messages, people jumping around, talking about they catch the spirit, but ain't no spirit of truth up in there. Man, constantly when I'm at work and out and about, I'm asking these young men, like, do you even know what you're supposed to offer, to a woman? What does it mean to be the leader in the house, head of household, the head? Where are you going? A lot of these young men don't know where they're going, but they're entertaining women and thinking that they're going to have prosperous relationships. You got to make that make sense. Because if you don't know how to be a man, you haven't been taught how to be a man, if you haven't studied to show yourself approved as a man, bro, she's gonna take you like some bubble gum around her finger. And when she's done, on to the next man. And you didn't gave her a sense of pride that, she could see you 10 years from now. He wouldn't be nothing without me. She taught you one thing. Hey, you probably need to work a little more. And that's it. He wouldn't be nothing without me. You didn't put some authority in her hand that she was not meant to have. Man, I'm constantly studying, reading, learning stuff, even if the times right now don't warrant the knowledge that I'm trying to gain. I'm constantly studying, man. I have a speed square and I use it for like 90 degree. I use it for measurements, but I've been studying, okay, if I want to do rafters, which I'm doing in the near future, man, I didn't know that thing could give me pitches and things like that. So, as men, if you're not studying the word, and you're not around men cut from that cloth that can show you how to walk in righteousness, how to be strong, heads of households, don't be surprised if your doggone, you know, family or your relationship falls apart. Because where did you get how you're living? If you're just faking it till you make it, how did you get the standard of what you should be doing? Like, did the world teach you that? Because 9 times out of 10, the world is not going to teach you anything in line with righteousness, because we know the world cannot receive the spirit of truth because it doesn't know him, it doesn't see him. So, man, I know a lot of men in pride, young men, man, they're not gonna receive this, and it'll be to their own destruction. But we gotta change this. We gotta change this dynamic, man. Gotta change this dynamic, especially if men out here, if you saw a man on a date, a young man, and he had been taught righteousness, the conversation of that date would be a lot different. The goal wouldn't be, let me get her back to the crib so we can do this. The goal is, man, let me see if she's been taught to be a wife. Let me see if she has an obedient spirit. Let me see who is her example of submit. But what we have is young men entertaining women that struggled at being wives, struggled at being mothers, far as the woman you're entertaining, her mother. What line does she come from? Chances are, if you don't have a father, you got to learn this the hard way. And here you are ignorantly entertaining a woman that's never seen a righteous example of what a wife is, never seen a righteous example of what a mother is. All they saw was a bunch of religious women going to church, hooping and hollering, so-called catching the spirit. And you said that's good enough, only to find out when you read the book for yourself, man, they ain't done nothing that's in this book. So I hope I said something tonight to edify your soul. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hey, share this. Feel free to share this. I catch a lot of smoke for this content, but hey, man, there ain't nobody that spoke truth that didn't catch this shame. Share this with some young brothers. Share this with those that are still asleep, and hopefully a seed can be planted. I'm not the one to do the watering. When the Most High Yah says it's time for their understanding to be unlocked, he will unlock it. Hey, I appreciate you for tuning in, Jamie Tyus. Let's see. We got MK Fitness in the Philippines. Shout out to you, Maurice Delva. Hope all is well, brother. And then we got Timothy Richards. Shalom, shalom. Man, I hope you guys have a blessed night. And I'm gonna keep doing some topics on this, because as men, we cannot afford to fumble due to ignorance. And how many people, you got to think, for 20 up until this point, at least about coming into the truth, 26, 27, I had a Bible this whole time. Going to church, keeping that book closed. The pastor never said, open your Bibles up and verify what I'm saying. They never said that, because that would expose that you're getting motivational messages. And that joke only read 1-2 scriptures. We got to start reading that thing for ourselves and obeying it. That way, women and children do not become our oppressors. But if we don't, hey, it's going to be painful, man. It's going to be painful. Closer to Y'all Ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight. Wow.